welcome everybody to the September 9th regular scheduled board meeting for the City of Griffin. We will start by having the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Ward and the Invocation by Commissioner Holberg.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in prayer. Father, we're here today to ask for your blessings and guidance in the performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions fair and just to the best interest of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings and keep us united as a team to work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in your name. Amen. Amen.
Mr. Chair, are you ready for
Yes.
agenda?
I am. Do we have an amendment?
Chairman, I move that we add item number 15, and I quote, "Consider approval to enter into executive session pursuant to OCGA Section 5014-36 for the purpose of deliberating or discussing the evaluation of personnel," unquote. With that addition, I move we approve the agenda as published.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second to amend the agenda?
We have a second already?
No, ma'am. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor of approving the amended agenda, please raise your hand. Unanimous. We'll put Rodney down. All right, we'll start off with our presentations and delegations. Excited to see this first one as we recognize Daryl Dix, Lieutenant with the Police Department, as the August 2014 Strongest Link Award recipient.
Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening.
It's a great deal of pleasure that I come to present to you all Lieutenant Daryl Dix as the strongest link in the chain for this month. And Daryl oversees the Department's Office of Professional Standards. The division includes training, budget, internal affairs, quartermaster, fleet assignment and maintenance, grant management, and purchasing. Daryl also assists with several other assignments in the department. He's the SWAT team commander, and he also oversees the Citizens Police Academy, and he's done so for the past 2 years, and it is greatly received. And if you announce it that you're going to have it, within 2 weeks it's full. So the accolades there for the way Daryl handles that program, I don't believe we could have anybody else any better representing us to do that program. Daryl balances his time, is always willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. He also is in charge of internal affairs investigations for the department. He performs those duties diligently and professionally, and he works extra hours to conduct those investigations and pretty much works without complaint. I don't know how Michelle feels about it, but Daryl works. Daryl works. Lieutenant Dix also teaches in the department and does numerous training programs for us in-house that saves us I don't know how much money with his expertise just in police work and in specific topics in search and seizure and other things. He's always willing to help. He has volunteered to help with the range, and we've been working together out at the firing range. We almost have the flat range completed. We will have the pole barn under construction for the staging area at the flat range, and hopefully we will be able to qualify all of our officers at the firing range this year for the first time. And we've worked, and Daryl has helped immensely with that, and hopefully we'll have that done shortly. Because of his dedication, loyalty, and hard work, it's Chief Heaton's pleasure, because he's the gentleman that recommended Lieutenant Dix for the strongest link in the chain award for this month, and I greatly second that motion.
I appreciate the opportunity to work for the City of Griffin. Been doing it a long time. Look forward to a lot more years of serving the citizens of Griffin and Spalding County. Thank you.
All right.
Got to wear that now.
You're the man for it.
I like your new badge.
I can say this.
That's beautiful.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Dix. We got a nice laundry list of all the things and accomplishments that you do, but we know that's still not everything, and you're held with high esteem and regard. And when we were at the introduction for the Citizens Government Academy, it became a testimonial session from the members about the Police Academy, so your effect is reaching there. They really, really thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's one of those things that just perpetuates out in our community and has that ripple effect, so thank you for what you do. All right, next we'll recognize Albert Sands, refuse collector with the Solid Waste Department for 25 years of dedicated service to the city of Griffin.
Albert's been here 25 years, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be it.
He's been messing with me all week. Whenever I asked Albert, I told him to make sure that he got here this evening to accept this award, because he said, "What are you going to do, say something bad about me?" And I thought about it for a few minutes, and I said, "I'll let you know tomorrow, because I can't figure anything out to say bad." I've tried, I really have. So I guess, what can I say? Albert is. There's really it's really difficult to put into words how he does things. That smile you see never leaves, and it's amazing how you can go through every day with a smile like that. I mean, I feed off of it. It helps me. Albert delivers all of our containers, our garbage containers and our recycling containers. Spends time with our citizens when he delivers those containers, explains to them the recycling program, how to put things out. He just doesn't come to the house and drop one off. He started out as collector, and when I drove routes before, he's been my guide, because I feel like if you can't drive, if you can't do it yourself, you got no business telling other folks to do it. But it's a little difficult, but he was my co-pilot, and he gets me around town too. But there's so many people that know Albert by name and by face. They recognize him. He's always honking and tooting and waving at folks. We can pile it on, but I don't know what else I can say. You want me to say something bad? I still have to do it, But anyway, it's an honor, and for me to be able to do this, I hope I can make it. This is a present. I can't even hardly see it. It says, "Albert Sands, in recognition of your 25 years of distinguished service," and it's very well deserved, and 25 more. Okay, maybe. It's your turn to say something.
It's roast Phil night. You can get at him now.
Well, I appreciate working for the city of Griffin, because when I first started, I was about 17, so I didn't think I was gonna make it, but I just started coming to work every day and started, meeting people, talking to people, and explaining stuff, So I just got used to it. So I appreciate this award. Thank you. And plus, I got a chance with the city manager to work with.
That's a downside.
I was the driver, he was the co-pilot, and that one over there was the collector. And remember I told him, I said, watch this. Remember when he'd barely get the garbage cart to the back after I'd hit the fuel as hard as I could get the back, and he'd be running. I mean, he was humping it trying to get back. So be careful what you ask for.
All right. Well, thank you for your loyal service, Mr. Sands.
Today, right? Thank you. Here, you want this book to put this thing back in? All right, thank you.
All right, something a little less exciting. We'll review financials of July 2014.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for that wonderfully eloquent introduction there.
Make sure you name.
Yes, sir. All right, obviously, first up's going to be cash balance, and nice and boring there, very little change from one month to the next. So that's how we ended, or plan to end the fiscal year, and what we're looking at for July. Any questions on cash? Hearing none.
More is better.
More is better. That's short-lived, sir. We plan to spend that in the next couple months, trust me. Okay, next up is the local option sales tax and SPLOST information. Any questions on that? Obviously, it's early in the year.
It was a good report.
Thank you.
Local option, yeah.
And then we also have the projects, the status on the SPLOST projects. Any questions on that document?
No.
And lastly but not least, we had a little issue with the loading of the file for the interim statements, and we printed off new ones to replace those. So what's in your file now is the one that represents July 31st. Okay. So hopefully you were able to get those in time. Do you have any questions?
I see the auditor there today.
Yes, sir. They'll be here for quite some time, for the next couple of weeks.
A piece of cake anymore for you, right?
We have our challenges. we have our excitement, trust me.
You have to feed him?
Feed them? No, they're on their own.
Good.
We have
Glad
peanuts
you know
if they want that.
Right.
Well, kick off the first month, so there's not a whole lot to the financials when you're starting off in July. Hard
Right.
to tell too much, but anybody have any questions for Mark? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll open to citizen comments. At this time, the chairperson opens the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda for a public hearing or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to city business and may refer speakers to the city manager or other staff for resolution. Do I have anyone on my left that would like to come forward and address the board? Okay. Anyone on my right that would like to come forward and address the board? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to public hearings, and we have one public hearing. We will receive comments regarding a request for a variance to reduce the 10-foot planned landscape strip to 0 along South 15th Street and reduce 5-foot landscape strip to 3 feet on the eastern side of the property and permit parking within the front yard setback for property located at 828 West Taylor Street. I think Kenny will kick us off.
Thank you. LaCroix Engineering is the consultant that's working with Bojangles, who has an opportunity to develop 4 parcels on West Taylor Street at the corner of West Taylor and 15th. I've noted those parcels here. This is Taylor, this is 15th. They have the chance to develop these front 2 and these back 2. It does not include this parcel, but it includes these 2 and those 2. On your map, so you get a good perspective of what they're looking to develop.
Will there be one parcel left between it and Anderson's, or is there?
One parcel left between what?
Anderson's and this.
Yeah, I believe there's one
And a parking lot.
parcel left there. The variance that they're requesting is to reduce the 10-foot landscape strip along South 15th to 0. They're required to have a 10-foot buffer landscape strip here on South 15th. Now, what we've determined since they put this plan together was on this part of South 15th, we think the right-of-way is 40 feet, not 50 feet. On the North 15th Street side, it's 50 foot. On this side, it's 40 foot. So in actuality, they will have a 5-foot buffer here rather than a 10-foot buffer. So that variance would actually be requesting to go from the required 10-foot buffer down to a 5-foot buffer if we verify that right-of-way is 40 instead of 50 feet. They're also asking to reduce the 5-foot landscape strip on the other side down to 3 feet. That's on this side. A 5-foot landscape strip is required here. They're pretty close to it, but as you can tell, that property line kind of narrows. So up here, they're probably right at 5 feet, but down on this end, they're closer to encroaching there. So they're just asking to bring that down from the 5 feet requirement down to what they know they can make, which is a 3-foot on the eastern side of the property. Also, our Unified Development Code doesn't allow for parking in the front area of commercial building. They are requesting to have parking in the front area of that building along West Taylor Street. This drawing shows 43 parking spaces. Our minimum requirement of parking spaces by the UDC is 31, with the maximum being 50. They kind of split it in the middle. This is their standard layout for a Bojangles, and they're requesting 43 spaces. We did meet with the engineers today, and he believes he can get Bojangles to agree to go down to 40 spaces and take these 3 corner spaces out right here, which would give us some additional landscaping on the corner of Taylor Street and 15th Street. So that's basically the variances that they're asking for. The engineer, Theo Stone, is here to answer any questions that you may have in regard to that property and any other questions regarding the engineering or the variances. Theo is here to...
Right, is this a franchise? Is there a local owner of it?
I don't believe this is a local owner. It's a franchise, and I'm not sure where the franchisee is out of, but I don't think it's a local owner. Okay. And Kenwin Hayes, our DDA director and economic development person, has been reaching out to franchises that we do not have currently, trying to attract those franchises into the city. So this appears to be one of the first.
The rear setback on this, what's that space from that rear property line to the end of the parking? It's 30 feet. So is it worth backing that up any further to get a little more spacing on the front?
We could do that if city staff's open to it.
Let me discuss this, because I'm the one who had heartburn over this design. I've had a problem with fast food places just dumping all they can on minimum space and leaving a fast food place with a lot of parking and nothing else. So we've been talking about this, and I understand with Kenwin, and I'm not trying to be difficult with Bojangles, but the 3, in my opinion, the variances are I'd only vote for them if the 3 in the northwest corner of the parking places we discussed earlier today go away and give us a nice landscape corner up there, go a long ways to making this look less fast foodish and more like a real building. And I'd also, like Doug, would prefer that we get some variance relief in the back and slide it all back and leave a little more room at the front. I think that'd be a better use of the space than all that buffer in the rear. Now,
Is there a requirement for the buffer in the rear? Is that a residence?
30-foot requirement.
Okay.
I'm not sure what, that property is on PCD back there, I don't know what the owner is like. It's on PCD, but that doesn't mean
If there's a house on it, it's probably close to
I can't remember. I know
there's
it's in
an
my
old
district.
house on it.
Yeah, it's in my district.
I'm not even sure it's occupied.
There's a brick house that was boarded up. I'm not sure if that's on this existing.
What do we do in Ruby Tuesdays? Isn't it pretty much the same thing? Aren't there houses behind Ruby Tuesdays and where United Bank is located right now?
Yeah, and there's a buffer.
Right.
There's a fence and a buffer.
Those houses came down, the newspaper on that property at one time, and so out there and sold it.
Ms. Clinic was That's the VFW.
Oh, so my preference would be to restore the full buffer in the front and allow a variance to slide it back.
We currently meet the landscape strip in the front of 10 feet. The layout can slide back, so we're open to it. What I was discussing with Mr. Smith is we probably wouldn't want to slide it back no more than 10 feet, somewhere in the 5 to 10 foot range.
Okay.
The thing that bothers me about the location is the light. The thing that bothers me about the location is the light at 16th, and it's a hill. And there's going to be traffic that's going to be coming out into Taylor Street, and it's at certain times it's really bad, especially at lunchtime. The ones that are going to Chick-fil-A, and then we always cut through. When we go by the police department, if you're going to go in that way, you come in 15th Street, right there, and usually turn right on Taylor. And you have to really be careful because the cars are flying once they get that green light. That's something that concerns me. That's basically my only objection.
So I would propose this. Approve your variances as requested, but also give you a 20-foot variance in the rear so you can slide the entire project back 10 feet and do away with those 3 parking places as discussed, and I think we'd have a much nicer looking citizen here. If that would be happy, if that would work with
That's acceptable. I can go back to the developer with that we will remove the 3 spaces in the northwest corner, 2 standalone, and then 1 from the 6 linear spaces to West Taylor Street, and then that we would propose to slide the entire development back approximately 10 feet, leaving roughly about a 20-foot setback buffer.
And you're going to have to make sure that you don't have anything, when you put the landscaping there, that's going to block the vision of a driver.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
That's wanting to turn left.
And that's part of the sliding it back a little, you can get the bigger stuff.
Is there any way to save the 2 oak trees if you slide that back?
We haven't gotten that far into the design. We've just done 2D planometrics at this point.
You've got
but that's
2 substantial oak trees in the front yard.
Okay.
And if there's potential of those.
I'd be willing to make that a motion for approval, and if they're happy that you're done with us.
Works for me.
So
Are we requesting them to increase that front setback if you're sliding it back?
Yes.
Because they're meeting the front setback at this point.
Yeah, but just do more.
But they're adding more space. I think they're adding more parking spaces in the front than normally allowed based on the.
Yeah,
Well, normally we don't allow any.
Correct.
parking.
So
right.
get
So-
the extra green space in the front.
So if we slide it back 10 feet, those parking places that are irregular up front aren't as,
We'll be farther back.
be farther back.
Okay.
So when you say 3 spaces, why the 3 versus all 6?
Because they won't cut more than 3. They determine as low as they'll go.
As low as,
And I'll answer this. Optimal parking for Bojangles is anywhere from 45 to 50 spaces. As I was telling everyone earlier, we've got a similar project for Bojangles in DeKalb County that has 51 spaces on it. So they've already reduced their operational standard, if you will, at 43, understanding the concerns of the members of the board and trying to come in as a good neighbor. They can reduce it a couple more spaces, but 40 is really about their minimum threshold operationally between any employee parking and customer parking that they need to have what they define as a functional restaurant. And the spaces on the corner, what it will do is create a better view corridor from 15th to West Taylor and allow us to do some ornamental plantings in that area.
how many do you think the 10 additional feet would allow along the sides?
As far as?
Parking spaces, if we're trying to do a trade-off by allowing a reduced setback in the back.
No additional places, just slide it back so you have more buffer in the front.
Okay, so you're not talking about lengthening the actual parking lot?
Just slide it
No,
all.
we're going to take the layout as it stands currently and slide it back
Okay.
10 feet.
And remove the 3 spaces on the corner.
And that way, those parking places are only basically halfway in the no parking place setback. It's
And
sort of
where's your
comparable.
drive-through gonna be?
It is on the eastern side, if you look at the layout on the board.
on the American
Your
side.
keyway, this is the keyway, your pickup window here, or proposed to any more here on the back.
So they'll go out on 15th.
Yes, sir.
No, they go out on,
So, well, they can
No.
go out either entry, they can exit on Taylor, or they can circle back around and go to We haven't met with GDOT yet, so if GDOT, proposes that we make this right in, right out, there is the opportunity that everyone else can go to their team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That
Sure.
will ease the flow of traffic. That's a busy area
so,
with no lights.
I'd be willing to even put back a space up front if y'all went monument sign versus pole sign. Well, what's in y'all's mind right now about
I think they're
sign?
open to either option as far as signage. That'll be dictated by what your UDO will allow for this area.
Well, if we allow pole signs.
But your preference is for it to be a monument sign?
My preference is always to be a monument sign in my mind.
Yeah, it's up for a vote, just saying we want.
And the trees.
Okay.
I think it would be a nice, classy thing if it was a monument sign. That's just
I can convey that message.
my personal feeling.
So,
All right, Commissioner Moore, you started a motion?
Well, we
No,
have
there's
wait,
still a
there's public hearings.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right, we're still in public hearing. Does anyone on my left like to come forward and address the board on this topic? All right, would anyone on my right like to come forward and address this topic? Okay. Does anyone have any further questions? Them? All right, Kenny, any other comments? You good to go? Okay. Well, thank you for being here and
Thank you.
answering questions.
Yes.
All right. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Consider approval of the minutes of the workshop on August 26, 2014, the minutes of regular scheduled meeting on August 26, 2014.
if there are no other known corrections, I move we approve them as presented.
Okay.
I'm here for the workshop.
All right, so
Take them
we'll have
all
no
at once.
abstentions. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Wait a minute, you want to
Can you
approve them
take
just
one by one?
one at a time since you were,
Which
Yeah.
did you miss?
The workshop.
Okay.
okay, my motion is to approve the minutes of the workshop.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve minutes of the workshop. Any other questions? All those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, 6 to 1 abstention.
And then I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting as presented.
All right, motion and a second. No comments. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Right now, we'll move on to the regular agenda and consider a request for a variance to reduce the 10-foot planned landscape strip to 5 feet. Is that what we're going with here? Along South 15th Street and reduce the 5-foot landscape strip to 3 feet on the eastern side of the property and permit parking within the front yard setback for property at 828 West Taylor Street. And I believe we're also looking at
Shifting.
reducing
Well, if
the...
we move it back, the 10-foot on the, I'm sorry, reduce the 5-foot, never mind, I lost my...
Reduce
train
10
of thought.
feet on the back.
Rear setback
Rear
from 30 to 20 as
Yes,
well.
and then let's do the front one. I'm trying to get my thoughts back in order here. The landscape strip to 3 feet on the eastern side, I'm sorry, permit parking, never mind. I got bogged down
Okay.
in my own befuddlement here.
So
I got it. I'm ready.
You ready? Go for
We
it.
say we're gonna work with them, but they're gonna work with us.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I move we approve the variances as presented with the addition that the 3 parking places on the northwest corner be removed as per our discussion, 2 standalone and the 1 in the corner on the front, and that the backyard setback be reduced from 30 to 20 feet so the entire project can be slid back 10 feet. No additional space taken, just slid back.
Moving it back.
And now, I think will give us a much nicer looking Bojangles.
Second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is that to also include the 10-foot strip to 5 feet as Kenny presented?
It should,
If
yes.
the right-of-way allows.
Should include that as well.
Yes, includes all those.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other questions or
I got a
discussion?
Is that agreeable?
And so, for the record, we're We're not voting to approve the side setback from 10 to 0. We're voting to approve it from 10 to 5.
Yeah, we are.
To 5.
Yeah.
My motion is to approve all the variances.
Right, but what I'm saying is if it's 5, then why don't we approve it at 5 instead of at 0? Because that then leaves room.
Well, we're not sure if it's 5 or not.
He already said it was 5 because
Our
of the
GIS
right-of-way,
department said it was a 40-foot right-of-way there.
which gives them a 5-foot automatically.
So I'm assuming that our GIS department is correct.
Okay,
But
so you would rather that we...
Included in the motion.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the standard that we want to set for, is for them
And
to
you
have
got
that 5.
you've got it, so, okay. Then my motion will exclude the 5-foot strip on the west side if they don't need it.
Second is change.
Okay.
Is that what you're going for, Corey?
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments?
Just want to say thank you for your investment.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you for your willingness to work with us a little bit here.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. All right, next we'll consider approval of a task order form with Paragon Consulting Group for the design and engineering of Community Development Block Grant, Zone 6, in the amount of $70,115 for the Water Wastewater Division of Public Works.
I move that we approve the task order.
Holberg needs to abstain.
For the
Yes.
record, I'll need to abstain due to possible conflict of interest of owning property in that zone.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I still move to approve.
All right.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any questions for Dr. Keller? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. 6 with 1 abstention. Consider approval to award the bid and work contract to Lavori Incorporated for the repair of Heads Creek wing wall in the amount of $197,700 and amend the budget accordingly. Dr. Keller will address.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second, and I was stunned at the difference in the bids. So, I know the McElroy folks, and they do good work, but they are sure a lot cheaper.
For the record, this can't bother me anymore. After 8 years of transferring it.
Okay, now that we do have that on the record, does anyone else have any comments? All right. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous.
We're at least not changing geomorphology.
Consider for approval to renovate and repair fire stations 1 and 3 and transfer $84,219.66 from Morgan Stanley Fire Bond Reserve and $12,002 from the BB&T Fire Bond Cash for a total of $96,219.68 to the General Fund Operating Cash and close our Morgan Stanley and BB&T related bank account. Amend the budget
For
accordingly.
discussion, I'd like to move we approve.
Okay, I have a motion?
Second.
And a second.
Before Tommy speaks, because I've got a question.
Yes, sir. As you know, Station 3 is 40 years old this year, or will be next year, and needs quite a bit of work. The kitchen was placed in it and Station 1, more or less a residential-type kitchen, and they're both completely worn out. So we're going to go into there and not only we're going to paint everything you see, including the outside of Station 3, we're going to put commercial kitchens in there that will outlast the buildings. Quite a few sanitary things that have to be done too, plus a lot of modernization with our IT department. But under Mr. Whalen's guidance, we're closing out the old fire bond accounts, I believe from the 60s or early 70s. Is that correct, Drew, or something like that?
That was my question. I don't know what the fire bond
I
is.
believe was the year the referendum was held for.
Yes.
These are general obligation bonds.
What?
GO bonds from 1963.
And that money's been laying in accounts this whole time?
Well, the money was initially raised to build 2 fire stations, 3 and 4. 3 got built. 4 was deferred. I believe it was going in the industrial park.
One place, or on North Hill Street, which we eventually built
Right,
without
there was
using the
some
funds, right?
controversy at the time as to where number 4 would go, so the money never was expended. Now, we've come back several times when needed to make repairs to the existing fire stations and use the same money to make those repairs with. We're just cleaning out these accounts basically for this project.
Okay.
Thank you, Granddaddy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have, is there anything else you wanted to add to the discussion? All right.
Rodney and I weren't
We're
here.
just grateful there's money there.
I was here.
I think we saw a lot of
Not
the,
a commission contingency.
a lot of the pictures of what we're looking at as far as repairs and things. I think we're gonna do a lot of the work ourselves to save on the cost.
Yeah.
Be good. All right, we had a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous.
Is it number 10?
It is number 10.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table number 10.
Okay, I have a motion to table number 10. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, table number 10. I think we're looking at reconciling some of the pricing on that, and they're gonna bring that back to us. Is there any other questions or comments about that? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Consider a revision to the utility incentive program requiring that new business must be served by its own water and electric meter to qualify for the incentive discounts.
I hope reading this now, we don't have that same issue come up again, so.
Hopefully that issue won't come back up. That's not to say that some other issue is kind of hard to cover everything, but we hope that same issue doesn't
Well,
come
it's a
back
good
up.
program, and I was afraid that issue we had with them was gonna mess it up, but I move we approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comment for Bill?
I hope it solves it too.
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Consider for approval the purchase of 4 23.5 by 15 solid rubber tires from Setco Inc., the sole source provider, to be installed on the L-120 loader assigned to the City of Griffin Solid Waste Transfer Station and Recycling Center at a cost of $7,809 each for a total of $31,236 total.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
A motion and a second?
These can't be retreaded like other tires? That doesn't answer my question.
They're solid.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous?
You're under budget, Phil.
Actually, they are retreaded. It's recycled rubber that's pressed onto the rim itself.
Wow.
Tire, 23.5 inches wide, so that's where the 23.5. But it is actually recycled rubber that is molded to the actual center wheel that goes on to the motor. Yeah, sort of.
And you were under budget, too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next we'll consider approval of an inmate work agreement between the City of Griffin and Spalding County to provide inmate work details and addition of a corrections officer to staff for operation of the material sort line at the City of Griffin Regional Recycling Center.
I move we approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second, and this pretty much goes along to what
When
we've
it's
been
gonna
talking
open?
about for a while.
When are we gonna open?
First part of the equipment, the first section is coming due September 23rd, the very first part. And then there'll be 4 other deliveries after that, mid to late October will be in business.
Wow.
How about the shredder?
Spreaders coming mid to late October.
Thank you.
Then we'll be in business.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. And item 14, consider resolution authorizing the city manager and staff to acquire specific interest in land needed for GDOT federal aid projects 237 and 238 intersection improvements. This acquisition is under the Federal Uniform Act and requires specific procedures be followed, including payment of moving and relocation expenses to some owners.
And I'm sure you all read all 39 pages of this resolution in great detail and understanding. So, if I could just point your attention to 3 tracks on Project 237, and I have the enlarged plans here. I know you had trouble probably looking at the small set pictures you looked at on the computer. But this project is kind of scattered all over Griffin, from Broad Street at 8th Street going west out to Experiment Street, right behind the Second Baptist Church. Part of it's down on West College Street at 8th and 9th Streets. Part of it goes further out West College Street to where it intersects with Meriwether Street, and then on out to about 15th Street. But on the section going out West Broad, there will be some intersectional improvements at 8th Street and then 9th Street, and then you come to a railroad spur. From that railroad spur that crosses right there, the property on the north side of West Broad Street is going to be affected up to the railroad, of course. It all abuts the railroad. And it comes down to a triangular point right behind Second Baptist Church. The part on the westernmost part right behind the church belongs to the church. It's got a small building on it they use for storage, and we're going to take the entirety of that parcel because there will be nothing left for them to use for any other purpose once this acquisition occurs. The next parcel, as you're coming back to the east, is a tract, Dick, I think you had an interest in at one time.
Years ago, yes, sir.
Yeah, that Russell Johnson owns today. There are 3 businesses located in that tract. That's the most expensive parcel in the entire project. But we're taking it in its entirety also. All these buildings are going to be taken down out there. The next tract, as you come back to the east, is owned by St. George's Episcopal Church. There's going to be a concrete median put in that's going to run basically from about midway of the church's current property where the church sits on the south side. It's going to extend down beyond 10th Street, going down towards Experiment, and it's going to be a lane divider. It's going to move all that traffic off to the right, so it comes, it's going west on Broad. It's going to come down, get in this dedicated lane and move around onto Experiment. There will be approximately an acre of land that's very irregularly shaped. The city has always had this land zoned as industrial, mainly because there was an old textile mill on this site many, many years ago. It burned down, I believe, in the early 60s. But the appraiser looking at this says this simply is not industrial property. Tract remaining would be too small. DOT would limit access into the tract. They said they really don't want any driveways cutting into this remaining tract. And the property probably has no better use other than to grow grass and perhaps have some parking on it. But the problem is getting there. You're going to interfere with the new street improvement if you put a driveway in there. You don't want cars cutting back and forth across the new dedicated lane. So our recommendation on that one, I left it as an option in the resolution. But the recommendation of the staff would be to buy that entire tract for $82,572. Otherwise, if you just take the part that's utilized, you're paying $20,650 for which you do acquire both the right-of-way and the permanent easement. It's a temporary easement on this tract. But then you're leaving a property owner with a piece of property they probably can't use, and they probably would have a right of action against us on if we didn't offer to take the whole thing. And you're welcome to look at the plans. I can pass them down if you'd like. But this is the bus station right here. I don't think it's still there. No, it was, yeah. Yeah, it was. This is all parking over here.
So if I understand this right, that they can get confused, we can approve this and it still leaves open the option to take it off, because I understand what you're saying about that. Okay. Did we have a motion?
No.
Make the motion to approve.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Does anybody need Drew to pull up the map and show what we're talking about? Okay. Any other questions for Drew? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Do we want to do city manager's report before we make a motion to go into executive session? All right, go ahead, Kenny. Our city...
Nothing to do with that.
We will acknowledge the $500,000
That's the latest
check.
$500,000. I believe that's the sixth city
Congratulations.
we were awarded just the other day. I just need to confirm the room reservations, I shot y'all an email a few days ago on the retreat, the intergovernmental retreat, and I heard from Ms. Flowers and Mr. McLemore.
One night, right?
One night.
Yeah,
in Athens.
road trip.
So if y'all would just let me know definitely, because the chamber wants to go ahead and make sure.
I'm a yes.
Rodney,
You want to talk?
come on, man.
Yeah, I'm a yes.
You'll be back
Ms.
for
Ward's a yes.
the football game.
I think everybody was a yes, and just work on Rodney.
Ms. Todd, you a yes, or you
Yes,
gonna let me know?
I mean-
Rodney, you need to go, man. This is the future.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
important.
the football team's
While y'all
important.
putting pressure on Commissioner McCord, I'm gonna call on Brant to talk to you about brown water
Brown water
briefly.
or ground water?
Thank you.
I'll be brief. I wanted to talk to y'all, not ask Kenny to put me on here. We've had an elevation of manganese in the water, and it's better for me to be able to tell you this now so you don't have to call me tomorrow. The problem's been corrected, but the water will remain in the system. It's safe to drink. It meets EPA standards, EPD, but it's has a brown tint to it. And we had a clarifier that had to have a part, and it broke, and it took better part of 7 days to get it. And then we had a valve, brand new $20,000 valve with the guts that broke in it. So I don't want to call it a comedy of errors, but in the meantime, just want to let you know that the problem is under control. We have sent to Steel Branch. We're running Steel Branch currently 24/7 to put the mainstay of water into the system so that we can, it'll probably be 4 to maybe 7 days, somewhere in that window before it clears up 100%. But I did want to let you know in case you're concerned.
Manganese, you said?
Manganese, that's right.
Well, they always put
Is
that in your
that
vitamin
produced-
mineral pill anyway.
Did
Yes,
that
sir.
produce sediment? Because I heard some complaints about sediment in the water.
Sediment?
Yeah.
That's manganese. That's what it is.
Okay.
And what happens, it can be very light brown, or it can almost look like a red stain, but that's what it is. Just want to let you know in case you got...
River levels up.
Sir?
The river levels up right now.
Yeah, momentarily. Don't get excited.
I'm not too excited, but
Yeah.
they're up, right?
Yeah, well, the sad part is, in order to make all this work, we had to drop the Heads Creek Reservoir 3 feet in order to fix the wing wall to take the back pressure off the wall,
So now
so
you got water, but you can't fill it.
we're good to go. We're happy.
Wing water.
Is manganese?
Manganese,
Manganese.
M-A-N-A-N-E-S-E, manganese.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Country.
Okay, thanks for letting us know
Thank you all.
on the front side.
Manganese.
Do you have anything else, Keith?
That's it, thank you.
Drew, do you have anything?
Manganese,
Manganese.
I'll start with this side. Commissioner Todd, do you have any comments for the?
No comments.
No comment. No comment.
Return sanity.
I'm good.
Good.
No, I think I'm okay now.
Okay. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of deliberating,
Make a
discussing,
motion to
evaluation
approve.
personnel?